Gender violence in St. Lucia.
Help for youth in Tobago.
And your views on abstinence.
From across the Caribbean.
This is Live Up, the show.
Hey guys, it's great to be here with you, and of course you, Alex. You know what? I'm really looking forward to our trip around the region.
Yes, me too, Reagan. But first I have to share something that was on the Oscars recently. When director Steve McQueen received the Best Picture Oscar for 12 Years a Slave, he dedicated it to the 21 million people still living in some form of slavery around the world. How is that even possible in this day and age with all the communication and awareness? 21 million people?
Well, what that says is that people are still trying to pretend it's not happening. I mean, which is where we can all do something, right? If someone you know disappears suddenly, don't assume that they've just gone somewhere. Make sure that's the case. And if not, call the authorities. Or if an acquaintance goes overseas to work, insist that they let someone know that all is well once they get there. I mean, it's just for their own good, right?
Absolutely, that makes sense. At least in the case of gender violence, the blinkers are kind of coming off now, you know? People are starting to acknowledge that this is a big problem everywhere, and it happens on all levels of society. It's just that in larger homes, it's a bit easier to hide what's going on.
Well, that's true. And it's heartening, though, to know that there are more and more support groups being set up to protect and assist victims and their families. This report from Glenn Simon in St. Lucia looks at that country's efforts to stem the tide of violence.
Mostly every day, people come here complaining about violence, about concerning their spouse and domestic and whatnot. So we deal with it on a daily basis.
I would say at least between 85% to 90% of the applications for domestic violence protective orders are from women, and the respondents are mostly men. We do, like I said, have applications from men who are legitimate victims, I have to add, of domestic abuse, and their plight is just as serious as if it was a female coming forward.
There's a lot more focus on women and children, and men seem to be left out of the equation. But a lot more attention needs to be paid to men, because men suffer also. They may not report it, they may not speak about it too much. Men usually keep these things to themselves, but it happens to men anyway.
We often blame men because they are the abusers, and which may be true. But we now recognize that men hurt just as much, that the men have issues. And we now have men who come into the center to say, I'm an abuser, I have anger issues. And when you look at the history, you realize that they have had a real terrible history of abuse themselves. And they are hurting and they have issues. And the truth is that telling somebody not to get angry and beat up somebody, it's okay to tell them, but unless you help them to deal with the issues they are carrying, it may not stop.
When you look at a man, you look at a man as being someone that is strong. So having to go to the police to say that my wife is abusing me, he is afraid that the stigma that is attached to police officers or whoever laughing at him, so he wouldn't want to report that.
Violence in any form or fashion should never be accepted or tolerated, not by the individual victim or by the society on the whole. And so one of the things we surely want persons to understand is that if you are in a situation where you are a victim of abuse, you need to think seriously and look at getting out of it. What we have found as well is that in many cases it does not turn out well. It can end up in death. And so persons need to take some action. You need to report it. You need to inform somebody. If you feel that you are not able to report it on your own, inform someone who can report it for you.
It is not just a domestic issue. It's something that affects the community, it affects the family, it affects the nation by extension, because gender-based violence on a whole has psychological impacts, it has economic impacts, it has social impacts, and all of these by extension affects the country.
Majority of the reports that we are getting in reference to gender-based are with women, but we do have men also who reports the matter. And most times the aggressor are the men, because if the women are complaining, obviously, it's the men who are the aggressor.
Certainly with respect to our adolescent population, there is always this issue of the HIV that comes up with respect to, again, sexual abuse of our young persons, because clearly we've recognized they do not own the skills at this time to negotiate the sexual relations, and so it is usually an issue where there's a level of dominance by the male partner. And of course, we are seeing a lot of our young girls showing up with issues of HIV.
Sex is used as the tool to control. Sex can be used as one of the tools of control and power. So in some of these relationships, you do have that situation where women are fearful and they are unable to negotiate sex because they're just intimidated by their partners, because they live in a state of fear.
If you're a victim of gender-based violence, if you're a victim of violence in any way, you ought to seek some form of assistance, some form of support.
There are challenges in life, there are problems in life, we all have them. But you don't have to suffer in silence and take it. You have to get up and seek help, and we want people to know that help is available.
Gender-based violence is essentially a battle of the sexes, a display of dominance and power. At its core is a lack of tolerance, love, and respect for one another. To improve our quality of life, safeguard our relationships, protect our families, and secure and empower our communities, we all need to break the silence on gender-based violence. From Castries, St.Lucia, I am Glenn Simon reporting for CBMP.
What moved me in that report is that abusers often have a history of terrible abuse themselves. It's what we were talking about in our last episode, right? That violence often leads to more violence. Now, hopefully the anger management training offered to those perpetrators can break the cycle. In Tobago, the government recognizes that many social problems start in the youth. So they're putting initiatives in place to try to rectify this. That's coming up next.
Driving around on the public road fast is a hazard. Drinking and unprotected sex is just another example of careless and irresponsible behavior. I think it's really important for young people to try and actually be engaged in what is smart and what is right for first yourself and then others. That mutual respect needs to be nurtured. So from the circle, love, protect, and respect. Live up.
Live up, shout, live up.
So before we head to Tobago to hear about the youth initiatives there, we asked if you thought abstinence was a good option to promote to young people as a way of staying HIV-free. Here are some of your responses.
I believe that yes, abstinence is a viable option in remaining HIV-free, considering that it is taught in a holistic manner, so not just abstinence, but you need also to be teaching other types of approaches as well.
Well, some willing to try, but then they fall into peer pressure, so it's a tough thing right now. Then too, you might have some that could say, well, you know, I'm ready for it, or they're ready to marriage, which is also a good choice.
Abstinence is definitely an option. Firstly, for me, I believe in biblical principles. So having sex before marriage is definitely the wrong way to go.
For me, I think you just have to distribute a lot of condoms. Just make people aware of what is out there. Show them how to use the condoms, because I work in the polyclinic, so I know a lot of kids ask a lot of questions, and some I think use the condoms the wrong way. Some tear them with the mouth, some might tear another way, but most of them I think tear with the teeth, and that's not right.
I said yes, because if you're not sexually active, you would not get AIDS.
Well, certainly abstinence is a way of promoting safe sex and remaining HIV-free in an age when people are becoming sexually active at a much younger age, at least it seems, than perhaps when I was young.
I believe the importance of abstinence, and it's a well-known option for staying HIV-free.
Yeah, we should be promoting abstinence and trying to find ways, to educate the youth about sex and what's not, because right now is a bit of a stigma to it, and we try to hide things from children, so we should promote it.
So I would definitely say
abstinence is an option because one of the ways of contracting this disease is through sexual intercourse. And if you are not engaging in sexual activity, then it definitely reduces your chances of getting this disease.
I think young people should be given all of the options to consider and support for whatever they choose. If they're going to have sex, it's better that they understand the need for protecting themselves from all sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV, as well as pregnancy. Here is some good advice on the subject from Veronica Campbell-Brown, Johan Blake, and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
Nobody chooses the situation in which we're born.
It's not where you're coming from, it's where you're going.
What we choose to do with our lives is very important.
To be respectful to others, respect ourselves.
I respect myself by, doing the things that's right.
You can live up yourself, basically, and try to be a better individual before you take on the responsibility of a partner.
When I'm living up, that's what I do. I'm going out there motivating people.
Display a high level of self-respect. Do not be pressured by your peers or even older people to do things that you're not ready for.
I have sisters. I don't want to hurt any girls. I don't want anyone to hurt my sisters. I'm not perfect. I just try to do what's right, to respect myself.
I believe you should always get tested.
Hi, I'm Veronica Campbell-Brown.
I'm Johan Blake.
My name is Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. Love, protect,
and respect yourself.
Live up, shout, live up, live up, shout, live up, live up, respect and shout.
Now, Tobago is not one of the larger islands by any means, but both government and NGOs are certainly making a huge effort with regards to supporting their young people, as we see in this next report from Omadara Mills.
School-based violence, negative peer pressure, low self-esteem. These are some of the problems youths all around the world face, and Tobago, a small, beautiful Caribbean island, is not excluded. With a population of close to 60,000, this island is constantly dealing with problems affecting youths, which make many of them susceptible to substance abuse, unemployment, and risky sexual behaviors, resulting in unwanted pregnancies or contracting sexually transmitted diseases such as HIV, with one HIV activist saying that the age of infection is as early as 14 years old. But in an effort to encourage youths, which in Tobago are those who fall into the 15 to 29-year-old category, the THA's Department of Youth Affairs carries out several programs aimed at keeping youths on a path of positive behavior.
One of the strategies we used, especially during the carnival, pre and post carnival activities, to go into schools and community and highlight issues. We use theater in carrying across the message of, in terms of sexual behaviors, in terms of other lifestyle, diseases.
The THA recognizes that financial empowerment is also key to helping young people. It's the reason they devised the Youth Energized for Success, or YES program, under the Division of Finance and Enterprise Development. YES focuses on preparing young Tobagonians for the world of work, equipping them with the necessary skills they can use to become effective youth leaders in the work environment.
I came to get a gentle reminder on how, you should be carried about yourself. Self-esteem, how to build it and how to, keep it up there.
I think for me it was the goal-setting session, because to succeed, I think people overlook setting goals, and it's very important, as I learned here today, and I think I'm going to start to set goals in order to succeed.
NGOs are doing their part. FOTUS, which stands for Friends of Tobago AIDS Society, is a local group which raises awareness on HIV as a measure of eliminating stigma and discrimination towards people living with HIV. The group also provides assistance to persons and their families who are affected by the disease, and sensitizes young persons about being sexually responsible through its youth forum.
According to UNAIDS, they are the most vulnerable group, right? Because they are 1 in 2 new adult infections are within the 15 to 25 age group. He did a pre-evaluation and a post-evaluation of, some of their attitudes towards HIV/AIDS, what they thought it was, how they felt about certain issues related to AIDS and HIV. And based on the post-evaluation, it was clear that they had a greater understanding of not just what HIV and AIDS is about, but really how they should approach persons living with HIV AIDS, and it showed that they really had the skills to present some of these ideas and to their peers.
Another civil society group is CAMD, Caring for Adolescent Mothers and Disadvantaged Youths Tobago chapter. They provide books for children, clothes for those who need, and direct youths to the relevant agencies who can provide them with financial or job assistance.
We have a lot of single parent, female, and because of the absence of the fathers, I saw the need to support these mothers. However, we also have male single parent and we have the elders, but it is dominated by the female single parents.
CAMD has helped hundreds already, and there's focus to provide assistance to youths in the rural areas.
I don't like English. She tell me to do the English over and the maths. Then she tell me like what person's options again, so I could go and check out the tutor, which one I'm comfortable with. So I go with one, I end up getting back the math and I get the typing. So I have to do a science one now and back the English now, and then it gonna be okay.
These are just a few of the initiatives done in Tobago to help youths grow and make positive contributions to their society. And with more programs such as the Y Zone centers and police youth clubs, the public sector and NGOs are ensuring that future generations are protected, respected, and well-loved citizens of Tobago. From the clean, green, safe and serene island of Tobago, I'm Omodara Mills of the Department of Information, THA, reporting for Live Up the Show.
CAMD, Caring for Adolescent Mothers and Disadvantaged Youths, another amazing organization, right?
It is. And desperation can really bring people down, you know. Where a little bit of hope, knowing that someone has your back and is there to help and offer advice, often is all it takes to lift your self-esteem and give people a chance to get back on their feet.
Yes, and we certainly wish them every success with their programs.
Coming up, a Caribbean perspective on homophobia and having gay male friends.
Part of living is going out and making good informed decisions. This is the most powerful defense in my mind of our generation. We have a serious problem with AIDS, we have a serious problem with a lot of things that young people are dealing with. But we have to be the one that create the social movement that change it. We have to be the change agent we're looking for. Remember, live up, love, protect, respect.
Live up, shout, live up, live up, shout.
Our last report today comes out of the Live Up workshop that was held in Barbados recently with partnership donor support from the Maria Holder Memorial Trust. I'm sure you'll recognize the handsome face of the reporter at the beginning. Over to you, Reagan.
Gay men have always had to hide their sexual orientation for fear of irreversible embarrassment. Although that's slowly changing where I'm from in TNT, we got some perspectives here in Barbados from the regular folk as to how they perceive their gay friends.
Well, I choose my friends very carefully, actually, and I care if they care about me and what I do and support what I do. They're my friends, so I don't look to see if a person is gay or straight.
I think a support system is important because of the stigma and discrimination out there, and because people are very afraid of what society will think and how they will treat them. So to have the support of those who love you definitely just makes things a lot easier.
Most homosexual men refuse to disclose their sexual orientation for fear of discrimination or the stigma associated with being homosexual. Do you have any male gay friends?
No, I do not. At least not that I'm aware of.
I don't have any that I know of.
I'm sure I do. I think everybody does, whether they know or not.
No, I don't have any male gay friends.
The stigma and discrimination that has them in the closet. So it's society's views of them and their fears about how they are treated that keeps them in the closet. Most people, they would like to be open. As I said, though, some people would like to stay closeted. But, you know, society blames the gay and bisexual men for being in the closet, but they should really look at it from their perspective. They're really afraid of being mistreated, losing everything.
We wondered if persons would be comfortable stating that they had male homosexual friends, or if they at least worked or came into contact with persons who are homosexuals. We took to the streets of Barbados to find out. If one of your male friends came to you and said he was gay, how do you think you would react?
Well, I would react okay. There's nothing wrong with being gay in my eyes. To other people it might be, but to me it's not a problem. We'll still be friends the same way.
It doesn't really matter to me whether someone is gay or not. I mean, that's just their business, in my opinion.
I don't think my reaction would be any different from if he came and told me anything else, any other new information about himself. He's still my friend. You're still a person, a human being. If that is your personal choice or preference, then so be it.
The perspectives were fantastic because in Grenada, where I'm from, there's still a strong sense of homophobia, especially among the straight guys.
I think Barbados has come a long way in a couple of years because when I first came out, there was a bit, it seemed like Barbados was really homophobic. But nowadays, you go down Broad Street, Bridgetown, and you probably will see some uneffeminate gay man walk down the street. And that's sort of everyday life now. And yeah, they get heckled at sometimes, but I feel like no one really troubles them as much as they used to. And I think that's because more and more people are coming out and people are being sensitized.
We are in the Caribbean, we know how persons look at gay people, but where I am concerned, I have no feelings towards it, whether you're gay or straight. If you're my friend, you're my friend.
Basically, I have straight male friends, I have gay male friends, and I don't think that there's any difference. I talk to my straight male friends the same way I talk to my gay male friends.
I don't let my sexuality define who I am. I have other goals and aspirations to get where I want to go. So I don't let my sexuality define who I am.
Good advice. Don't let your sexuality define who you are. Now, staying on the subject of sex and sexuality, do you think there should be safe areas within which sex workers can operate? So, for example, that brothels are regulated in some Caribbean islands. Do you think that approach should be adopted elsewhere?
I guess it would be a good idea, being that now, especially things getting so hard and they're doing that, they should be safe doing their job. Especially like you have countries like Holland, which has it legalized, that you can have something like that in the Caribbean where those can be safe and know well. They don't have to be looking around watching their about all the time and make their dollar, well, what they're proud of doing, because some of them don't hide up and do it.
In terms of prostitution, I do not believe in that. I do not believe in that. It should not. It should be, to me, there should be laws that actually prohibit prostitutions. That's what I totally believe in. Because of what is going on in our nations, there should be laws that is implemented. We have too many young persons, even those of age, as I said, of age 7, even being involved in prostitutions. We definitely need laws implemented. People are bringing in non-nationals, taking our little children, taking our young people and selling them to these sex traffickers. Laws definitely need to be implemented to prohibit prostitution.
Yes, the sex workers should have a place to go, but you can't impose on people's rights. So it's their choice if they want to, but for me, I think they should.
Yes, because the issue of sex workers is something that is very important in terms of HIV and AIDS, and research has shown that there has been an issue in terms of the sex trade going on the ground and sex workers not using proper protection. And I believe that with some sort of regulation that would be able to decrease the numbers and some of the issues that we have with the spread of HIV, AIDS and other STDs.
I think it may be a good idea, but where we are right now in the Caribbean, I don't think we may be ready for that because of religious reasons and what's not. But it would be a good idea to at least protect people and make them feel safer.
I definitely can't support something like that because according to my personal religious beliefs, I really do not support the sex workers trade.
Wow, Reagan, it always surprises me how quickly we get to the end of a show.
Yes, definitely. Next month, we will see how difficult life has become for young homeless gay men in Jamaica.
We hear that Grenada is adopting a zero-tolerance approach to domestic violence.
Yes, and we'll look at an archive report on children getting mixed messages at carnival time. And we'll ask the question, has anything changed?
So, until then, as always, live up. Love, protect, respect.
Let's go. It's great to be with you here, Alex. Alex.
He dedicated it. I was acting so deeply.
The youth initiatives. Did not mean to say that.
Reagan.
That's kind of turning me on though. Knee just go up?
Yeah, I did. Big, I don't know if they got that.
Dun 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 dun.